This morning I was blessed with a few hours of dry weather here in the northeast, so I headed out to take some photos. While I was out, I was thinking a lot about the fact that a lot of us can put our photography into a mold due to only looking at and enjoying the work of a few other artists. And to me, this can be really limiting to our photographic eye, our creativity, and how many different photos we can see when we go out with our camera. More on that after a few images. So as many of you know, I'm very into photographing old stuff, disused buildings, decay, stuff like this old out of action diesel pump and garage. But I'm also very much into capturing the coast, harbour towns, nice moments of people enjoying themselves, and even a bit of city stuff here and there. It wasn't always like this though. There was a time where I was tunnel visioned on one particular style of image, and that's all I would see or look for when I went out, which actually led me to becoming pretty fed up and bored with photography. When I picked up a camera for the first time, and let me know in the comments down below if you were the same, I would go out and literally just take photos of anything. Some train tracks on the floor, a random flower that caught my eye, some shop fronts, even some portraits of dogs. Here's some of the very first photos that I ever took. This one right here actually has the date 2012 on the back of it. And after a while I thought to myself, I like this photography thing, let me go ahead, go online and see if I can find some other photographers that inspire me that I can use to hopefully improve my own work. So sure enough, I jumped online, and it's very easy these days for us to jump online and find a few photographers that we like to inspire us, maybe even one that we like so much that we then go ahead and try to create work just like them. But the mistake I feel, and exactly what I did, is to go year in, year out and get further and further into photography while only still having one or two inspirations or influences when it comes to other artists or even people outside of photography like musicians or painters or anything like that that might inspire your work. And for me, this lasted for many years, even when platforms like Instagram started popping up and we started getting hundreds of thousands of photographers around the world that we could look at and follow. The people I chose to follow on those platforms still sat within this very small box of photography, and they were still all posting the same type of imagery, which in short meant I was basically creating this visual cage for me and my own work and what I was able to see when I went out to take photos, because I was only looking at and being inspired by and consuming such a small pool of what is possible in photography. It meant when I did go out with my camera, I was blind to anything that didn't sit within that small box. People go on about finding our own photography style, and one of the most asked questions I think in photography is, how do I find my style? How do I go about developing a unique style? And I actually think the main thing that holds us back from finding a style is exactly this. It's narrowing our interests and likes and the stuff we consume right down into this small little cage, meaning that we stop experimenting and branching out and trying different things, and instead we just stay in this tiny little lane and create the same images over and over again, therefore never actually give ourselves a chance to find out if there's something else out there within photography that actually can benefit us in the long run. And I think realistically, a style, a very unique style that is, comes from somebody that has pulled from all these different inspiration sources and maybe took something they like from one photographer here, maybe a genre of photography that they like over here, and they've pulled all these bits together in order to create this new or different style for them. So this is Otterburn Hall in Northumberland, and if you're from Northumberland or you've ever searched like abandoned stuff in Northumberland, this comes up because it's, you know, well, look at it. Pretty awesome, isn't it? The grounds are also beautiful. Lots of dog walkers come here. It's been heavily photographed many, many times. I've never come here kind of for that reason, because it's so popular and up there with photographers and urban explorers and people that like abandoned stuff, that when somewhere is so heavily documented already, that kind of makes me feel that I can't add my own stamp on it. But it's super close to somewhere else I've photographed today. So I thought I'd pop by and just check it out for the first time. So in order for this profile shot to be nice and simple and unobstructed, I need to walk into the frame further enough that this tree branch here is out of the frame. Tiny, tiny, tiny little addition to this very simple photo as well that I like is that beer keg down there on the floor. Assuming it was a beer keg. It's not going to be a master class in composition, it's just a case of cutting out what we don't want on the left and right. For anybody that watched my Sony Creative Looks video a while back, where I was shooting JPEG Creative Looks, I'm still monitoring scenes on my camera using Creative Looks currently, and I'll probably have a follow-up video to that and my final thoughts on Creative Looks and JPEGs and all of that business when I wrap up my final thoughts, that is. But ever since I made that video, which was about 5-6 weeks ago now, I've still been using Creative Looks alongside raw photos, so we'll talk about that in another video. I think I quite like this frame of the old steps there running up, building in the background, keg on the floor there. Left hand side, if those trees were full, I think it would be fantastic. So springtime, this may be a springtime revisit, which I think seeing that on the back of the camera there, or through the viewfinder should I say, might be when the trees in the background have grown up, giving it more like coverage, because at the minute you can see straight through there. Chair on the floor over here. Little tiny additions like that I always feel make a photo a lot stronger. In these cases, of course, you might not want like a chair on the floor for some photos, but you know what I'm saying. I think this is worth a frame just for the chair on the floor, but the background obviously then backs up and adds to the chair. So a few days ago, I came across this abandoned farmhouse online and I wanted to photograph it. And after some frantic Google research, I managed to narrow the location down to Blythe in Northumberland, which I've known and visited for around about 7 or 8 years, maybe even longer now. It surprised me that I've never come across it, so I narrowed the location down even further to Links Road, which had me saying in my head, well, there's no way it can be there because I literally drive along there and park in this car park every time I go there. In fact, I parked there a few weeks ago to shoot for a video here on YouTube. So see this empty bit of land here? Well, if I grab the yellow Street View man and drop him on the street down here and then change the dates back to 2021, lo and behold, there is the farmhouse that I was looking online for. It no longer exists. I then stood in my office completely baffled, because that means that every single time I've gone there in that very car park, you can see the farmhouse, or would have been able to see the farmhouse from parking in that car park. It's so close to it. That means I've just completely ignored it when that farmhouse was there. And I'm absolutely certain that I did not notice that farmhouse as a photographic opportunity, or even as like a prominent structure that would stick in my memory, because of the fact that the work I really liked, the work that I looked at in photo books, even the videos that I watched here on YouTube as I was learning photography, sat within this very, very tiny, narrow genre. And when I pulled up into that car park, that's all I would have been thinking about. I wouldn't have even noticed anything other than photos that sat within that genre. And if I did happen to glance at that farmhouse, I probably wouldn't have had any real thoughts about it other than, oh, look at that abandoned house, and then walked off and gone and tried to get the photos that I knew, the only real vision that I had in my head due to what I was subject to when I was consuming other people's work for inspiration. I think that if we're to narrow our influences and our inspirations down to just one or two or a handful of people or things, that we stop seeing the world, in photography in this case, for how it actually is, like walking down a street, seeing a farmhouse, seeing the beach, seeing the coast, and we start almost seeing the world through our favorite photographers' work and how they would approach photo locations. No idea how old this is, but I'm assuming it's a bit more modern than you know, your farmstead dwelling that probably dates back hundreds and hundreds of years. So also, again, just really like a profile shot of this. No messing about. Of course, I think it'd look great as well under other conditions, but start chucking it down. Surprise, surprise. We've had total so far, we were like 2 weeks into February. Through January and February in northern England, we've had 1 day of sunshine, which was yesterday, and one morning, this morning, where it's not rained for part of the day, and it's now chucking it down. So, I mean, as much as I don't mind the rain, it doesn't exactly go hand in hand with venturing off and exploring places for photos and getting all your camera gear soaked and recording camera gear soaked. So it's proved very difficult making videos this year so far. And last week I was extremely ill. So yes, it's just all going to plan. But while I'm here, I got the Peak Design leash recently, which I'm really quite fond of so far. It allows me to walk around hands-free, of course, and then when I want the camera, just pick it up. But specifically because it comes with a little anchor that you can put on the bottom of the camera. I mean, you could fashion something like this yourself. I'm sure they exist on Amazon as well. But the leash comes with one, so you can have it on the bottom of the camera and the side of the camera, which gives it this really nice sitting position when it's down on your body. The lens tucks in and sits on your body like that. So a few years ago now, I made a real conscious effort to decide to branch out when it came to the work that I looked at, the photo books that I look through, the YouTube videos that I watch, and maybe even just the websites and photography sort of blogs that I go to for inspiration. And this didn't even necessarily come from a conscious realization that I'd put myself in this very narrow box. It actually came from the fact that I'd got pretty fed up and bored of photography as a whole, and I was having a lot of downtime. I think the lockdown and the pandemic was around the corner as well, so I was spending a lot of time indoors. And I decided, you know what, I'm just going to go off in search of stuff that's completely different to what I do. Started looking at some film photographers, old photographers, new photographers that are doing stuff that's nothing like what I was doing, out of pure boredom. And I would also say that boredom and that fed upness is a result of me putting myself in this box as well. So it wasn't a conscious choice, but I do think I landed on that because of the fact that I was putting myself in this very narrow lane, and it just led me to being a bit fed up with the same old, creating work that I thought fit in or tried to live up to my favorite photographers. Now, I didn't really realize it at the time, but looking back now, it's definitely very clear that this was a huge turning point for my photography. It made me way more happy with it as a hobby and definitely resulted in me getting better and better at the craft of photography. But the most important thing, I think, is it's resulted in me being able to see photos across any genre wherever I go. So now if I was going to the coast with the goal of taking some seascape photos and I pulled up and there was an abandoned farmhouse, there's no way I would ignore one or the other. I would see everything that was there as a potential photo opportunity. Of course, there's still going to be stuff that we might not notice on the first visit, or there might just be something that, you know, goes over the top of our head at the time. But the more you consume across many different genres and enjoy lots of different people's work, I think only benefits you in this way in the long run. Over the years, I've received quite a few comments here on YouTube that have said something along the lines of, Greg, what you take photos of could not be more different to what I take photos of and my personal taste. However, I really enjoy watching your videos because it opens up my eyes to lots of different subjects that can actually result in good photos. And even if I don't want to take photos of them, I can still enjoy your photos, as random as they may be. And I think that is an absolutely wonderful way to look at photography. You don't have to shoot the same thing as anybody else in order to enjoy their work and their processes, and then also pull little bits from their work and their processes that you can carry over to the stuff that you enjoy photographing. So if you are in the position right now where you're perhaps only consuming 1, 2 or 3 photography inspirations or influencers, wherever that may be, on YouTube, websites, or following people on Instagram, or maybe you consume loads of people but they all sit within this narrow box, then I would really urge you to branch out and see what it does for you and your work going forward. Oh, there he is. Say hello. Say hello. There we go. With all that being said, I hope you found this video helpful today or inspiring in any way, shape or form. Thank you so much for being here and watching. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.